Hi, everyone. Welcome to Grain Therapy, the woodworking podcast where we discuss our passions, methods, and personal growth as we build our woodworking businesses. Following last week's year in review, this episode is a little bit more relaxed. We talk about some projects coming up, projects we hope to get this year in 2024, and share more about ourselves outside of woodworking. Stay to the end for some community building opportunities if you want. This podcast can be found anywhere you like to listen. If you find value in it, please leave us a comment or review. In addition to following this podcast, find us at Bossman's Boutique and at Whiskey Woodshop to see our projects start to finish. So sit back and watch, listen while you work, or put us on in the background. Either way, we hope you enjoy.
How you doing, Brian?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. What are you drinking?
I've got maybe I've brought this on here before. Poppy.
Poppy.
This is strawberry lemon prebiotic soda. Pretty good.
0% ABV.
That's correct. Yes. Zero
Happy
protein.
January.
Also.
Yeah. So I've got a coffee with too much creamer in it.
It's coffee. Okay.
It's coffee. So I know it looked like mud earlier.
I thought it was some kind of fruit juice mixture or like a smoothie.
Yeah, it's green beans and carrots right there. No, it's coffee with too much creamer. It just I was gonna have a Diet Coke again because those things, but I was burping too much last episode. I'm trying to hide it. I would go off to the side, try to burp off to the side. Oh wow, lost focus there. We're back. So we got coffee, so we're staying up all night.
We'll make it through.
Yep. You have a good week?
It's been a busy week. Well, so last week was crazy with launching the podcast, and then
Definitely a lot.
This week I've got some stuff in my personal life that I'm trying out for the first time. I'll share more about that a different day. But
Okay. Yeah.
Trying exploring some different opportunities out there, and then I'm not leaving woodworking, so no worries there.
Yeah.
But there are some new things on the horizon that I got to check out.
It's always good to learn.
Yeah. And then what's the other? Yeah. The other thing is we're making progress in the shop. So we've got all of the 12-inch diameter dust collection up. And so that it was awesome too, because we got together like 3 times before we got into the space and looked at the space and kind of planned out, where all the major machines need to go that are going to need the most capacity from the dust collector. And then Nate found this place that was in Coon Rapids, I think, for this spiral pipe. And they sold it in lengths that just like 5-foot lengths. Everywhere else we looked had 10 foot. And so he kind of got the stuff that he needed. We had the big machines already placed. And then when we started connecting it all the outlets just were right exactly where they needed to be.
My goodness. Yes.
I think we had to cut like one single 12-inch diameter pipe a little bit shorter. Otherwise it was just like place and go. And so that was super satisfying. And then we've been, he's been taking the lead on a lot of that stuff because he's done it before on, a bigger scale. And then he's also done a lot of construction. So he's really familiar with some of the electrical and getting that all set up. So we hardwired the straight line ripper. We hardwired the 30-inch planer with a spiral head.
You suck.
The jointer, there were some issues with one of the joiner that he has in his shop. It was a really crazy thing. Like he was trying to run 10-foot boards across it. And it was in the infeed table was actually tilting.
Sure.
I think this is like maybe we cut that name out.
Shots fired. Okay.
Yeah, maybe we could cut that name out depending
on
anything out. How this gets settled.
You're editing this episode anyway, so.
So they came out and they took that back. So now we've got to change our plan for the joiner that's going in here.
Nice. Okay, so you just not complained, warranted it or whatever. It's not functioning right.
It wasn't functioning right. Yeah.
Right. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
But they didn't.
That's good for the brand then. Way to go, mystery brand. Okay. Yeah.
They didn't fix it, so they were just
They just were like,
we're taking it money back. End of deal.
sure, makes sense. Makes
Yeah,
sense.
and then we've got a lot of love and care to do on the sliding table saw that he bought. So and then
Was it
yeah,
used?
it's used. That one's
Was it
old,
pretty heavily used?
pretty heavily used, and then obviously heavily neglected for a while.
Okay.
I mean, it's in good shape. It slides. We just gotta. We're gonna have to get custom screws and bolts and to make sure that things fit and stay where they're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's coming together. And then our next step is finishing off with the flex pipe for the desk collection, and then we've got to make a chop saw station with all the cabinets and whatnot. So we're starting to design that a little bit.
Whose job is that?
I'm going to design it, and I'll
Okay.
probably do most of the building.
Nice.
He's footing most of the cost to get this thing up and going. So
Deal.
I got to do what I can. Yeah,
There you go.
more than happy to help out in those ways.
Yeah. Well, and then you can have some fun with it too. Try to make it best fit the function that you want.
Right.
In the corner, miter stations are their own thing. Like people pour their lives into a miter station. It's funny.
It's a lot of different things you can do. I think we're going to try to do. We're going to try not to go so custom, and we're going to try to do it is going to be custom, but we're going to try to have, instead of solid up against the wall, we're going to try to have mostly just the horizontal surface be rigid and connected to the wall, and then cabinets that come out. And
Nice.
So if we'll
Rolling,
have
you
a
can
whole
move to different
sander
stations.
station that moves across. So it's a big area, so we don't want to be walking back and forth all day.
Mine is kind of like that in a way, where I have my machine slide under my miter station, but that's just to save space in my garage.
Yeah.
So, and then I've got like a cart that goes under the one. But yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so that's been an experience. Just kind of figuring out setup, like a shop setup with another person is a lot more, I think, satisfying. It's been a much more enjoyable process than trying to figure everything out on your own. But the obstacle becomes he's doing much different kind of work than I'm doing. And so the functionality, I mean, for what he needs, the volume that he's doing is so much greater than what I do. So he's the priority in the setup, and then I'll kind of just fit in around that. And that's no big deal. It'll work for me. But
so are you going to have like a base station, like your own little 4x8 roller that'll, where you can have a bunch of strips all over the place or something? Or
yeah, I got to figure out my strip storage, because and the nice thing too, he creates a lot of scrap that normally he throws out that I can actually use, which is super cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I got to figure out a unique way to store a lot of what I do, because when I get into a project like that gradient table, the table that I did, that took, I think I've said it on here before, but it was like 30, maybe not 30. It was over 20 glue ups that all needed strips out of it. So there was stuff everywhere. So I got to figure out how to consolidate that in a clever way. And I'm kind of thinking it'll be like a vertical stack with like a gluing, like a drying rack where you just slide a bunch of stuff on.
Does he have a lot of glue ups too, like panels? Like, would you guys have one of those clamp wall things? Ritter table or whatever they're called.
He does a lot of tabletops. So he does a lot of tables. And he's got one of those big giant glue up racks, you know what I'm talking about? With the arms that
he has one. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so he's got one in his garage right now that is probably too big for his garage. So we're moving that one up here, and then he's going to replace it with a smaller one in his garage. So he's just,
this guy's running a mile a minute.
He's planning like 10 steps ahead all the time, and he knows what he's doing. It's so cool to see. Like, he's just like in the zone all the time.
I am extremely jealous of that guy's drive and the ability to just take on the risk, and it's working out so far, it seems. So
yeah, everything's coming up for him. Like, and it's cool to see like just the community that he's making. And like, he's got all these, regular clients, and he's always talking. Every time I come in, he's telling a story, this person or that person, told him this and connected him this way. And yeah, he's just like, he's doing it. Like he's taking advice, he's getting connections, and just like it's working out, and it's super fun to see.
That's super cool. Yeah. So speaking of used tools,
Yeah,
I bought a tool this weekend
you bought a
that I
tool.
forgot I even bought until
The dust
we
collector finally. Just kidding.
Shh. I know I promised dust collector next, and I would have if this marketplace hadn't popped up. So you get to guess what is the used tool that I bought for $500
$500.
on Facebook Marketplace.
Did you get a
on Friday.
bandsaw?
Did not. Would you like another try?
I don't know. I can't think of
Bought
all the tools you have.
Bought a track saw.
Hell yeah.
So I got the
Yes.
TS75, and I got so it came with, it's a little more beat up than I wanted to, like the boxes. So you can tell this guy was like a contractor. He's bringing it to job sites. I think he was cutting like some flooring flush or whatever. Like
Sure.
whatever. I don't know. So I was hesitant as soon as I saw it, but you're smiling so big right now, so I'm hyped.
Yeah.
But he gave me 3 tracks with it too.
Okay.
So I got the long Festool, a short Festool, and then a short Makita.
Okay.
And he wasn't going to give me clamps. So I was like, you got any clamps? He's like, oh, okay, I guess I'll give you a couple. So sorry if you're listening, dude, but you got to give me a couple clamps if you're going to give me a track. So yeah, it's the bigger Festool track saw.
Okay.
Yeah. So haven't made a cut with it yet. I'm probably going to need new blades. I mean, the one blade looked decent, but he told me the 2 others were definitely dull. So
Sure.
yeah.
Awesome, dude. That's gonna be super helpful for
Mhm.
a lot of your projects.
So much. And I'm going to work on this slab table soon. So it's like,
Yeah.
I needed that anyway. My buddy has one and I borrowed it. And I think we talked about that on the podcast
Mm-hmm.
where I had one in the shop for a little while and it made my life so much easier.
Yeah.
And so my other friend is always on Marketplace. The man lives there. And he texted me, this is a deal. And it was a link and I couldn't see what it was yet. And I just texted back. I was like, I'm scared because he always sends me really good deals that I want to jump on. It's that thing where you see it on Marketplace and you're like, I got to do it right now. Like you get that like urgency.
Yep.
But, and I clicked on it and it was like, damn it. He's right. And because I promised dust collector next, but that it was a decent deal on that thing with the 75 and then the 3 tracks. So
yeah. What's your longest track? Did you get an 8-footer?
I think it's 75 inches.
75. Okay.
I didn't even measure it. It looks long.
Over 6 feet. So that's
For sure over 6 feet.
Yeah, that's about all. And then can they stack together? Did you get connectors too?
Yeah, I've got the connector. So I can
Sweet.
screw them together. And worst case, I'll just cut. So
Yeah.
not that I want to, but
That's a surprise.
Yeah.
It's a good tool.
I forgot I even bought it. I haven't run it yet. It's just sitting in the shop. I bought it, put it in the shop, and then I started turning on the lathe again and totally forgot about it.
Sure.
So,
and how's the lathe work going?
Thanks for asking. No. It's all right. It's kind of fun to have shop hours that I don't really have to think a little bit, but then it's also mind numbing because I don't have to think.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to build some furniture. And I was thinking while I was turning yesterday, I was like, I haven't glued up a panel since like August. This
Really?
sucks. I don't think so.
That's a while.
Like the steam bend cabinet was the last like hardwood I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I finished that in September. And then I did a built-in and another little box thing. And I feel like a couple other little things, but maybe not. Time flies faster than projects do, right? But I was like, I haven't glued up a panel. What do I still know how? I haven't run a jointer. I don't know how to use one anymore. So I don't know. I've just been turning, and I've got 70-ish turned. I originally thought I bought enough material for 100. I got home and I realized it was probably only enough for about 90. And then as I'm turning, some of these have little cracks. And when you look at the end grain of the blank I have, it's just the slightest little crack. And you're like, hopefully it doesn't go all the way through,
Yeah.
whatever. And especially when they're on the edge, you're like, oh, it probably dies off. And then some of them just dive right to the middle.
Right.
And so a couple of them I've turned. I'm down to probably like 9 minutes, 8 minutes for turning, just the turning. I still have all the drill operations to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm getting faster. But then I spend all this time and I do all the sanding and I sand them down to 220 on the lathe. And so they come off really nice. But if you never turn off the lathe and the crack isn't really deep, you don't even know it's there.
You don't.
So
Yeah.
what
Okay.
I took like 12 minutes, did a whole nut one, just like the normal thing. I'm just pumping these out, listening to music, podcasts. And then like I stopped the lathe and there's this huge crack through the center. It's like, I just wasted all that time. Like that sucked. And then, so then I sort it out. Now I check them all before I turn them to see if there are any cracks on the end. And I just don't turn them because I'm like, this is going to be a waste of my life.
Sure.
So I think I've had 5 blow up on me.
Anything scary or just
Nothing toward
nothing?
me. They just,
Okay.
you're just eating, especially toward the end. And then one of these little cracks or something, there must be a crack. Some of them, they don't look like they are. And
Mm-hmm.
then a whole chunk, like half the stock will just pop off and it won't go the whole way through. It'll just be like the end of it. And then I can't support it on the lathe anymore. Like I can't chuck it on anymore. So
Sure.
that thing's junk and it's half turned. So it's like, whatever, grab the next blank and keep turning. So I think honestly, like 20 of them are junk of the blanks
Okay.
I had. I know I had 80 and now I only have 70
Okay.
blanks, but I had more material too. So there's some extra in there, but
How are you? Are you over your budgeted material then to try to get the rest of them?
so I'm under my tooling budget and I don't know where I'm at on my material because I'm trying not to look.
You try not to look.
Try
Okay.
not to look. I think I'm fine,
Mm-hmm.
but it is taking me longer to do them all than the setup took me longer
Sure.
getting rolling. If I was at this pace the whole time, I'd be good. My hourly still looks all right. Like I told you, I enter my numbers in the spreadsheet and then you can
Yeah.
kind of see the number go down. It's still looking fine, but I know it's not going to when I get to the finishing part.
Sure.
It'll dip below my target, but it'll still be reasonable.
Still rather do it on a big like volume project the way
Right.
you did it than
Yeah.
experiment. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's super good. A lot of learning and you're
And just
learning.
got the tool out of it, learned a skill. So
Yeah.
I'm scared when I go back to normal lathe work with the actual rest, because right now I don't have the rest. I have the duplicator pad
Oh, yeah.
that I
Yeah.
have set up, like the whole jig. I'm great with that now. Like I know the feel, I get all that, but it's like I don't know how to use the actual tool rest. I haven't
Mhm.
had to. So that'll be interesting. I'll have to like learn how to actually use a lathe after I know how to use a lathe, so
Yeah, that's interesting.
yeah.
I wonder how many people that's their same experience.
Yeah, I doubt it. I doubt it. But no, it's just kind of a drone on, keep turning, keep turning. They're supposed to send me some decals so I can get some actually finished for them.
Mhm.
Just went out today and bought a nice set of drill bits because my drill bits are fine. They're not great. So
Mhm.
they bend a lot, especially
Mhm.
drilling into hard maple with a
Yeah.
small drill bit to pilot hole these the hardware for the end of these tap handles. So I got a nice set. Hopefully they don't bend too much. I've had a couple break off in my when I was doing samples, and there's nothing more upsetting than being on your last drill operation and then the little drill bit breaks off in the tap handle you just spent 20 minutes making. So
Yeah.
that'll get you to throw it across the room for sure. Yeah.
What's the smallest size that you're drilling? Do you find that like a drill bit or like are you using regular like brad points or are you using like Fosner bits or
No, these are normal brad points. Yeah.
normal brad
They're
points?
pretty small for the pilot on I don't even know because I need to hit center really bad
Yeah.
on these because if I'm off at all, it's obvious with the hardware.
Mhm.
So it's probably an 1/8 inch drill bit.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, it's a smaller hole than I
yeah.
was picturing for
And
to
then
fit
I have a bigger hole to follow.
Okay.
A bigger
That's
hole
what it
after
is.
that. And because that's like a whole 3/8 to quarter inch 3/8 for the
Mhm.
actual machine thread or the wood thread portion of the hanger bolt. So
Gotcha. Okay.
yeah, just kind of a annoying part of it is the drill bit. I really hope this new set is better. If it's 50% better, because I can make it work, but it's sketchy and some of them want to walk off to the side and not be in the center, and that's the worst part.
Yeah.
Just entering, if they can enter correctly and just stay
Yeah.
straight, then we'll be fine. So, and I choked down really far on them to give them less bending capability, and yeah, it just hasn't been
Sure.
working with my crappy drill bits that I have right now. So,
It's good to have a nice set and a crap set.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all that I've got going in the shop, and then I'm still noodling on the dining table design. I
Hmm.
had it locked in, and then now I'm like second guessing everything, but I'll probably still build it pretty similar to my initial model. I just need to get some more material from storm trees to have enough material for the legs. So I'm probably
Okay.
gonna go tomorrow or one of these days here and pick it up. But it's pretty chilly in Minnesota. I don't really want to go through a lumber yard at the moment.
Yeah. What's your planned schedule for building that table?
It's really gonna depend on other jobs,
Yeah.
but I need to get it done. So I'll have to push off other jobs in order to do this, which feels bad because it's not paid. It's that giveaway for dining
Mhm.
table, but
Yep.
I think there's a certain amount of authority you get by saying, "Okay, I can work on that in March." Like that also makes sense to people,
Hmm.
I think. So I just have to figure that out. I just got an inquiry this morning for I have no idea if this is going to land at all, so it's weird talking about it on a podcast. But I just got an inquiry through the website um, for it says 6 to 8 stylish working stations for a salon
Mm.
in Minnesota here. So that sounds kind of cool. Maybe if they want some walnut or some cherry or white oak or something nice. I have no idea the details. So I got to set up a meeting and see when they want them and everything. So that initially, as soon as I got that, I'm like, oh, awesome. But what about this dining table? Now I'm worried about timing. And so we'll see what happens.
Sure. Yeah, and I mean the nice thing about a giveaway project too is you can if work on it when you're tired of working on a different project too and kind
Right.
of jump over as long as you've got space.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Space is definitely a constraint, but I think I can manage doing both for a little bit there, have a
mhm.
crossover. But yeah, I've got that. And I also had another inquiry on Friday, Saturday. And that is when we started the podcast, I thought I had nothing to talk about, and I won't stop talking. That's what you're gonna find out here. I had that other inquiry, and that was from a previous distillery that I worked with.
Okay.
So they came back around. I worked with them about a year ago, right now in January, February, and they gave about 4 jobs to quote. But especially from all of our conversations and everything, and what I just said last week, it's like I'm making furniture from now on. Furniture is my business.
Mm-hmm.
That was fresh in my mind, and I got this request for 4 different quotes, and I'm happy to get them. I really like that they liked working with me in the past, but one was just installing faucets onto a couple old whiskey barrels that they want to turn into like a cocktail dispenser. So
Okay.
they just want me to drill a hole and put like a tap, like a nozzle on, basically.
Sure.
That's not the goal of the business, right? So this is it. You're gonna see they're kind of like handyman jobs almost.
Yeah.
The next is they were thinking about doing check, like where your bill is produced to you, like a clipboard for your check out
Yeah.
of
Okay.
barrel staves, like whiskey barrel staves.
Mm.
Goes great with whiskey wood shop and what I initially was doing with like flight boards on Etsy out of
Yeah.
whiskey barrels, but that's again, it's just not the goal here.
Yeah.
Um, and then another was making a modification to a current table that they have by making it able to have like a power strip on the underside or on the leg. So I think
Okay.
that's like a day on site doing some routing. Not the goal. I know. I'm sorry. It's handyman work. And then there was another that I don't quite remember, but it was incorporating whiskey barrel staves and stuff. So
Sure.
I basically had to say, hey, I'm really sorry, but rebranding here and got to focus on furniture. So I hate that I did it, but I denied 4 jobs, and I was like, I'm happy to refer you if you'd like, and like to somebody else who might do this, but I never got a response. So
Sure.
yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
painful. I keep talking about saying no to jobs, and then it really hurts.
It is what it is, and it's yeah. If it's something that you're not looking forward to working on, it's going to be hard to get yourself to work on it if you say yes. So
Right.
I think you're doing the right thing, but I hear you.
Try not to chase the money. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, that could be the next tool. That could be no. Build
So
furniture.
so that's what you got cooking right now. Is there anything this year outside of a giveaway table that you'd love to work on?
Yeah, I'm taking inspiration from you and giving myself some priority with my living room.
Oh yeah,
Because
nice.
I've been talking about it forever. Like Cal knows that it's my wife, Callie. She knows that I'm going to build the coffee table. Don't worry, I'll build the coffee table. Oh, I'm going to build the council table. I'll build one. Yep. Oh, we want some lounge chairs for that corner. I want to build those. I really want to do some lounge chairs. So it's like at a certain point, I need to follow through on one of these things.
Uh-huh.
So I think priority, I'm going to do the lounge chairs first. I'm pretty
Okay.
sick. Yeah.
You ever thought about doing a chair yet?
Yeah. So I've been, for the last 2-3 months, I've been researching, kind of saving stuff that I like. Got a
Okay.
little folder on Instagram and been drawing them up, and modeled one that I'm not in love with back in September, October. So I'll tweak that a little bit, figure it out. It'll be fairly simple. It's just the chair structure. I say it's fairly simple, and then watch me
Yeah.
backtrack on that in a couple episodes or months. But it'll just be the basic structure, and then I'll do 2 leather pads. I'm gonna try to upholster those myself. Hopefully, we'll see. Try to learn that, and then just have them not loose, but like not permanent upholstery on the piece itself. Like the pad will sit on the structure. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So kind of like an inside outdoor furniture type.
Yes.
Yeah.
That vibe, and then you can find a lot of. I don't know, they're really popular right now on Instagram. Like you'll find so many walnut wood lounge chairs with leather pads. So that's the look that we're going for.
Sweet. Yeah, it's probably one of those things. I haven't noticed a bunch of those on Instagram, but now that you told me, I'm sure I'll see a bunch.
Or as soon as you save one, then you see 10 more. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. That's exciting.
What about you?
What about me? I'm getting a little bit further in concepts on my living room stuff. I'm really getting interested in organic shapes. I want to try to do some curves and things. And
Nice.
so the other thing that is just like, I don't know if it's the perfect fit for our living room. I do want to have some of the just all walnut chevron, where it's got kind of the mismatchy and it all looks different. I want to incorporate that, and I've been thinking a lot. It's just been gnawing at my brain that I want to try to bend some walnut chevron veneer and see if I can't get that around a curve.
Wow.
I have no idea if that's possible. Like, I don't know if when it gets that thin, it'll want to like break apart as you bend it.
The end grain. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know if that glue joint will be strong enough, or I don't know if I could just have a thick piece of chevron that I could steam bend. I don't know if that's going to be strong enough either, but it's just gnawing at me to like come up with a solution to do that.
Is it always end grain?
It doesn't have to be, but that's the easiest way to make it in large batches. So, I mean, I could.
Because if you did side grain, I bet you could bend it. And then you just have to do the hard work on the pattern part of it, which I think you know how to do.
Right.
It is what you are amazing at. So maybe go side grain on that, and then you can actually, or face grain or whatever, and then you can pull off the bend, I bet. But I think end grain might give you problems when you try to bend that.
Maybe I could do a chevron glue up, an end grain chevron glue up, and then cut that, right? So that it'd be exposed end grain, and that's what you're bending. I don't know if that's going to be stronger or weaker. Or, I mean, the other thing that I'm thinking about that just makes it be more effort, I think, is like if you have chevron coming around a curve, you can have, instead of doing a glue up and making a board, you could do it kind of like a segmented like turning piece where instead of a rectangle, you're cutting a little bit of a trapezoid,
Yeah.
and you're gluing some of those around a corner.
Like Cooper it.
Is Cooper? Is that the word? Okay.
Well, coopering is like the barrel, like when you make barrels, so then you have the chamfering going around, and then So I think they use that as a general term other than barrels too.
Okay.
Like it's a coopered curve or something. I don't really know.
Sure. So that's another option, but then you have to you almost have to like know, I'm not sure, but thinking about it, it seems like you'd have to make sure that to get the chevron lines to line up around a curve, you've now got another variable of that height.
That's really hard. Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I don't know. I'm just going, that's been my obsession lately of just like, this is a problem I have to solve. And if I do, I'm going to be very happy with myself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would almost say just go with this face grain up, right?
Yeah.
Is that normally how your patterns are? Is face grain up or side grain up?
It's usually face grain out. Yep. Face grain
Okay.
out.
Okay. See, I was thinking you usually did end grain out, like a butcher block type.
Yeah.
No. Now I can picture it's usually that side grain. So then you should be fine bending that. Like that'll work. So use type on.
Yeah, depending on how thick. Yeah. If there's going to be a balance of how thick does that to actually make it bend into certain radiuses or radii, I guess is the word, and try to figure out how to. Yeah. I don't know. I've just never tried. I haven't seen much veneer of a patterned piece out there. And so I don't know if it is too hard and that's just why you don't see it or what's going on, but it makes me want to try it.
I wonder if you could strengthen the backside of it somehow and have it hidden. Like,
oh yeah, you could do like a different material. Yeah.
Like if you could bend it into a form and have the good surface facing down into whatever your mold is. And then I don't want to say the word resin, but paint on some resin, lay a piece of fiberglass and have it hidden on the back. And then that'll give the rigidity. And then the wood grain doesn't have to do the work holding it together. It just has to stick onto the fiberglass. But that won't expand. So you got to probably do it in strips, not the whole width. I mean,
it depends on the veneer thickness. If the veneer is really thin, then the movement's going to be irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a good idea. Have a different material that adheres to, and then that goes on to the wooden structure. Hadn't considered that. Thank you.
So what's the tightest radius you're trying to do here?
Probably not small.
Okay.
Probably like maybe a 10-inch radius.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I bet you can do that with normal wood. Just get that thing really soaked up and
just with a chevron glue up, just bend that.
I mean, how thick are those? 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch?
Well, so I usually start with like 1.5 inches, and then I veneer it down to like 3/32 if I can. It's usually maybe 1/8.
I bet that'd probably bend just fine.
Without breaking all those glue joints, because it's end grain to end grain. Yeah, I don't know.
You're not wrong. Yeah. That's just pure stress. Like you're adding bending on all the little ridges of end grain to end grain. It's just going to pop right off.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely going to have to try like soaking it overnight and like see if if I can put a mold on it and submerge that with a veneer on it and like have the mold just like way down as it gets soaked with water or something. Like there's some things I've I can try.
And this isn't
But,
structural, obviously, right?
No.
Okay. That's a whole nother. I'd be like, don't do it.
Yeah.
I think the fiberglass or some other kind of that might be the ticket,
Yeah.
because then that'll do the work for you.
hmm
But that's a
Yeah.
cool problem.
So that's been a problem that's been keeping me busy. And then, I just I'm going with mellow and going to make some light fixtures and just kind of bring a lot of like, like really soft tones into that room and just make it
Nice.
a relaxing haven.
Love it. Love
Yeah.
it. So all walnut.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Nice.
There'll be some accents, but
Yeah. I mean,
all
it's you
walnut.
making it, right? There's going to be accents.
There's gotta be.
Yeah, I've been really wanting to do like a stand-up light too, because you can just
Mm.
get the kits with just the cord and then the socket on top,
Mm-hmm.
and they look so simple. Like you just you build a tripod basically, and then you got a lamp. But
Yeah.
I don't know how to do the shade or any of that. That'll be someday, but I got to build some chairs first.
Yeah. Very
Yeah.
cool. What's so chairs and lamps. And then you said a coffee table. Is that
Yeah.
the big one? Is that the one you're saving for last?
No, the coffee table I barely care about, because
Oh,
the coffee
okay.
table that we already have, I'm fine with. Like we want one that'll like pull up with those hinges, so we can kind of like eat at it.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yep.
And just so I kind of want to make it look clean and have that there. But the console table is probably the biggest one. We've been toying with design ideas. I think it was going to be floating at one point and have one whole side steam vent and kind of have it like a wraparound look. But now I'm leaning away from wall mounted. Just want to be able to move it, take it with us if we ever leave the house. I don't know. I don't know what to do yet. So I'm leaving that one alone.
Yeah.
That'll probably be a next year thing. It'd be nice if I could take care of it this year, but we all know it's going to fly by, and we'll be doing the 2024 year in review before we know it. But if for everything I need to do in my house, it would be 2 lounge chairs, coffee table, a couple lamps, console table, dining table, set of chairs would be sick, but I'm probably not going to be allowed to do that. We're probably going to have to buy some chairs before that happens.
Okay.
And then renovation stuff. So I got to do a couple bathrooms, a couple whole basement.
Yeah. Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, if you need any help on any of those things,
Yeah, sure. If you want to make me a coffee table, that'd be sick.
Maybe.
Just whip that up and there you go. How have you been feeling? I mean, we touched on it briefly last week, but now that the stress part is over for
Yeah.
launching the podcast,
Yeah. It's a good one.
I mean, we kind of touched on it before the call. Are you way better this week? A little nervous still? How are you doing?
Way better. So yeah, it was I like the way we did it, where we did 5 episodes all at once. And then we tried to break it into that's bright. 5 clips at least an episode. And so we did 5 clips each day last week. And so it was just as a good test run. And so
On 3 platforms. So
on 3
15
platforms.
posts a day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It feels easy after that. So this week I've been doing 1 a day, and then you got next week, and I'm feeling so much better. And it's been kind of nice that like there not so many people like flocking to it and having to check up on things. It's just like let it lie and let it grow slowly. And so it's just been really good. Yeah, I feel awesome. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm good too. I get nervous with all the clips out there because we've talked about it. It's just out of context stuff. So I'm like, go listen to the whole episode. But then if people aren't into woodworking, they're gonna get probably bored. You know, it depends on how invested they are in what we're talking about, right? But it's like, go ahead and go listen, go give it a shot. So I've got a couple people who've said that they're listening, and like my mom went and listened, and she's like, it was nice when you said this. Sorry, Mom, if you're listening now. But it's like, I don't remember that episode. I don't know what you're talking about. So I'm glad you like it. I really am. I'm glad you're listening. But that was months ago. So
yeah.
we'll see what happens, right? So everybody keep listening,
Mhm.
and I hope it grows. But yeah, just kind of post and ghost a little bit and see what comes from it. See how the views go, and hopefully it impacts some people.
Yeah, it took some capacity out of our brains for a little bit there, so
Yeah,
it's nice to relax a little bit and um, yeah, hopefully get some feedback and see what people think.
yeah,
And yeah, and then let's refocus, redouble down on what you and I are getting out of it for
mhm.
ourselves, right? Um, because it took up so much capacity, I'm a little short on content, but
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it was just only about the podcast for like a week or two there. Like
mhm,
my shop hours, it was so focused on the podcast, and now I'm just trying to get my backlog done of like the editing that I'm responsible for, so I can just not worry about that anymore and just get in the shop and get
mhm.
back to work on this stuff. But overall, like choosing the podcast over the shop isn't bad for me either, because then I know it's just gonna get me excited to get back out there too.
Yeah,
And although it is so cold, my shop is, for anybody that doesn't know, it's heated, but it's heated by like an air conditioner unit that does heat too.
mhm.
So, and I don't leave it running all the time, especially because of the amount of dust out there. It's safe, it's wired correctly, it's all good, but I don't love the idea of leaving that on at all times. Just so much
Yep,
dust out there. It's a fire hazard probably.
yep.
So I just don't run it if I'm not in there. So I start it like an hour before I go out. And then like I put on some nice wool socks and some steel toes and I'll go out, but my steel toes aren't that thermal resistant, right? They still take in that cold concrete, and I'm standing on a rubber pad, and then I kick sawdust on top of the rubber pad to give me more insulation from the ground. Because
Sure.
when I'm turning, the lathe warms up my hands enough, like especially sanding. Like my hands get hot.
Mhm,
Like I
mhm.
burned through a glove the other day and I almost burned my finger. But my feet get so cold. And then so
Yeah,
I'll come in after like an hour, and the first 30 minutes are fine because they're still warm from being inside. But then after an hour, and then I'll switch boots and socks. I'll just switch to my other pair of steel toes, throw those on, and then because tennis shoes, I won't last long out there at all. Like it just
mhm.
gets so cold. So now I've been doing winter boots, like my shoveling boots, and
Yeah,
a pair of thick wool socks, and I still an hour and a half, and that's after having the heater on, set at 78 for an hour before I get out there, and the air
yeah.
is heating up pretty quick, but that ground. So I really wish I could leave it on all the time, and if I get a dust collector and I have the shop a little better set up, then I might end up doing that. Just keep it at the low temp
Mhm,
more often if I know I'm going to be in there the next day. But
mhm.
if I'm going away for a while, I'll turn it off. But the cold is one of my biggest deterrents to going in the shop right now.
Yeah, I have a detached garage, so when I was getting started and, like, um, I just remember, yeah, every time I had to go, like, in the winter, and it snowed a ton that winter,
Mhm.
I had to shovel the sidewalk, get into the shop, turn the heat on, go back inside, wait for 45 minutes,
Yep.
and then go back out there, and it was ready to work, but wasn't it was barely warm enough to
Yeah.
help the glue set.
You don't want to touch anything. You don't want
Yeah,
to think about anything. And like your glasses fog up, so you don't want to wear safety glasses. And there's like a million little. Every
yeah.
time before I put my earmuffs on, I like blow on them, just to try to like. And then it still is freezing cold. I have a shop Carhartt. It's a black one just
Okay.
like this that has been ruined with sawdust. I've tried washing it, and it is permanently infested on that inner pocket.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just
Yep.
pure sawdust. I've vacuumed it out. I've tried washing it yet. So then I throw that on, and that stays out there. It doesn't come inside. So that thing's freezing. And yeah, just get to work. But
Good old
it makes you
Minnesota.
really grateful for the spring. When the spring comes and the shop door opens, it's a whole different place.
Yep.
And then a couple of weeks later, the shop door closes and the AC turns on because that's Minnesota.
Yeah, I had you're telling about the AC and how the dust getting in there. I had an AC unit on my detached garage, and then once I didn't need it, we had some friends who had an AC that broke, and I got an air compressor. I borrowed one from my friend and sprayed that thing out for like 35 minutes straight. Just got everything out until it wasn't doing anything. They installed it in their house and they turn it on, and right away, just
Dust
my
everywhere.
entire apartment got filled with sawdust. So yeah, it's dust is getting in there
Yikes. Yeah.
big time.
Yeah, I had the normal and the filter on that thing is not a real filter. Like it's like a little screen.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
No. So I took our used we don't have a furnace. We have baseboard heating, so we have a boiler, but we have an air conditioner that's dropped through the ceiling. So it's up in the attic, and then anyway, the main cold return is up in the vent. So it's not a furnace filter, but it's basically a furnace filter.
Hmm.
And I just cut that up and I taped it to the front of the AC to give like one extra layer, and that seemed to help. But I mean, it's still getting infested with dust, and you can only get so much out because it's just that tight pack of the air conditioner. But that's just shop quality. Someday I'll have 12-inch dust collection.
Someday, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine it's too far into the future. We'll see.
Yeah. So when do you think you're using that dust collection? When are you breaking ground on these projects that you have? When, like, I know you're on the hiatus right now. How are you 50% through that? What's your forecast?
Our goal is to have an up and running shop by the end of January. So it's the 16th right now. So we're hoping to like have all of the machines operational, maybe not organization all the way figured out. We're talking about a potential like miniature mezzanine area to like separate some storage and separate like an office potentially. Because we got high rows like 15 foot on one end and it's maybe 13 on the other.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm itching to get some machines running and just be able to work on stuff again. It's been a while. I think probably like 2.5 months for me too since I've been cutting wood.
That's wild. Like, you still know how? Like, it's
I think
that same
so.
thing. Yeah.
I'm confident that I'll figure it out. But yeah, some of the patterns I'm a little rusty on.
Sure. So are you going to get right back into the products, like the kitchen products, so you can get back at the sales in the spring?
That's a good question. I haven't quite figured out my plan. I'm still I've been working on some plans right now. In the meantime, I've been working on designs for my living room. I think that's still the priority, and I'm gonna make some duplicates of some of my living room stuff so that they can be for sale. But I think right when we get up and running, I think cribbage boards may be the first priority. That was my biggest seller all last year, and just need to get some money coming in so that I can pay for my living room. So that probably is gonna jump the line a little bit, and then I'll get creative with that. And my gosh, it's gonna be I'm so excited to see how fast that goes with some of this new equipment. That's gonna be a real test that I'm gonna be paying a lot of attention to, and see how much that affects my costs. I've got a feeling it's gonna be more than I'm predicting.
Yeah.
So
I was just going to ask all that stuff. So do you have like down to the hours? Do you have an estimate what one cribbage board is at a certain pattern, or do you have good data on that from the past?
I do. I don't necessarily want to share all the details.
Oh yeah, but you know what the hours are?
Yeah, I'd love to maybe sometime like and people listening, if like I've got a spreadsheet that I've kind of put together that like grabs information from everywhere. It's kind of like a miniature ERP system. That's like something that like just helped me figure out so much more quickly how to invest, like which tools am I going to buy going forward and things like that. Because I could be like, all right, well, I want this new machine. I kept track of all my hours, all my materials really carefully on like cribbage boards. So I could know like, all right, if I sell 10 more cribbage boards, I'm ready to buy this thing, you know? Yeah. So I'm like a spreadsheet junkie.
Awesome.
I think you are
Yep.
too. I think we've talked
Love
about that
them.
a little bit.
Love them.
Yeah. So
I'm into, yeah.
I keep track, and I do a lot of batches too. So like when I start on some patterns, you know, I'll do 3-4 glue ups of all these different species of woods. And so I've got an input where it'll actually pull from the sheet because I put all my expenses in there too.
Mhm.
And I'll just tell it how much board feed I used, and it'll just plug that into the job number. And then that plugs into the hours, and it just like does everything for me.
Nice.
So it's a really cool system. So
Super
yeah,
cool.
I know exactly how much they cost today, and I'll know exactly how much they cost tomorrow. And
Yeah, so that
cool.
that was like the main question, is to see how it goes when you first start running in that shop, and then it'll probably take you like a month to get efficient in there, like knowing how to use the tools in what order and what size you should actually batch at. Because like,
Yeah,
I'm sure you're gonna like glue up to the size that you maybe a little bigger than what you have been doing, but then you're probably gonna keep pushing and pushing, and then find what's like the optimal
right.
real size of the stock now. And then I know in the past you've talked about how these have to be so like this expensive in order to make it worth your time, and that has been a barrier for some people because they're like, it's beautiful, but I can't spend that kind of money on a cheese board or whatever, you know, whatever the
Yeah.
item is. So if that drives your cost low enough, now you've unlocked a whole customer base that wants to buy but just hasn't been able to. So that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, and the cost will definitely go down where I could lower prices.
Well, I'm not saying you need to, but
Right. There'll definitely be like an evaluation to
Mhm.
see if that makes sense, right? But
Mhm.
I also think, yeah, I do need some more variety in the pricing, and this just does open that up. So that's going to be a big experiment this year.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you have one product that has slightly worse margin for you, but it's kind of like you're still making the profit and what you need to off it, but maybe it's like the introduction to Boss Man's Boutique. So
Get
it's
the
like that's the
foot in the
getter.
door.
Yeah, and then the other pieces are like the higher margin, like the money makers in comparison. So there's a lot of stuff you can do with the range that you have.
Yeah, and I think I'm just going to have a lot more time to figure that out now with the new equipment, and so that it's the perfect opportunity, and it's going to be a wild, fast-paced year.
Yeah. Do you have any idea how you're going to spend your time? Like, I think you were saying that the Wi-Fi there wasn't great, or maybe you're getting Wi-Fi. Are you going to office there? Or are you going to try to work from home certain days?
So yeah, I don't know yet. We do need to get Wi-Fi in there. Because it's so far away, it's so much farther of a drive for me. I am gonna try to work a little bit longer at a time while I'm out there and have a day or two from home each week. It kind of depends on what I've got going on and what's happening, but I
Mhm.
think I'll be trying to do 10 hours a day and just do 3 of those, and then whatever else at home, or take it
Yeah.
easy from there. So, yeah, we'll kind of see, just play it by ear, see what my body can handle.
Yeah, make it worth the drive, but also, have like the computer time at home, or the design, or any of that.
Yeah.
So cool.
A lot of new variables to test, and
Yeah.
that's I enjoy that.
Yeah. Last week, I had a question that I didn't remember to ask, if you're
Okay.
up for it. You talked about how you're doing more of the things that you're enjoying, like for fun recently. And I can agree, like I can relate to that. Like I've been getting back into working out. I've been sketching a little bit again. I've been playing guitar some more. It looks like I play guitar all the time, but I don't. I have them. So, but now I'm trying to play them a little more, so been getting now with the shop hours, I'm having more balance. So I'm having more fun just in life. What are the things that you've been up to outside of woodworking that kind of drive maybe inspiration back into it, or just give you a break?
So yeah, I've been doing. So we'll see what people think. I've been getting into meditation a lot. So I've been doing that, just all kinds of mindful practices. I've also been I like really small detailed things, obviously, for my patterns.
Mhm.
This is kind of nerdy, so we'll see.
That's
There's
okay.
Yeah, no, it's funny though. Like I just think it's hilarious because it's stuff that people look at me and like even people who know me when I'm like, oh, here's the thing I've been doing. They're like, what? But
You're an engineer.
one of the things I have found to be very therapeutic and just like a really good time for me is gem art. Have you heard of this?
Mhm.
Where it's you got the little pencil stylus and you got to
Yeah.
put one gem. It's like a paint by number thing. Um, I did one that was like I don't know 35 inches by 24 inches, so it was like
Wow.
over 15,000 beads that you had to put on there, and I finished that in like 3 weeks. And so that was when I was working on the table and I was really overwhelmed and like I just needed something to do, like to be away. And
Yeah.
what I like the really fine motor skill stuff because it it tells my brain I'm being productive, like I'm getting something
Mhm.
done, but it's mostly mindless because it's repetitive.
Yeah.
So I like stuff like that. There's these like metal puzzle 3D structures that I've been doing too that are like you need a little tweezers to like bend the metal sheets and fit little
Mhm.
tabs in and twist them off so that it all stays together. I could
Yeah.
show you one of those too, but so I'm just like I like crafts, and it's been nice to have
It's awesome.
crafts that aren't my living again.
Mhm.
It took me a long time to like find the new thing because that was what woodworking was. And yeah, so I do stuff like that. And I've got a book. My wife got me one of those. It's like the size of a book. It sits on your bookshelf, but it's like
Yeah.
a little miniature like living room where I had to
Okay.
assemble. So I
Yeah.
like that stuff. Yeah.
I can't do any of that. Like do you have really good eyesight?
Yeah, I'm super nearsighted, so I can't see far, but if it's
That's
like
why you like this.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't have great eyesight and I'm farsighted. And the idea of like any of that, it gives me a headache and
Yeah.
my eyes stop working. Like seriously, like if my mom is listening, she's gonna be like, "You were supposed to wear your glasses." But it they never worked for me. The text used to when I used to have to wear glasses, and the text would like fade into the page. The prescription was never right.
Mhm.
I don't know. I can pass the driver's test without them, and nothing's ever blurry, so I call it fine. Anyway, we don't need to get into my eyesight right now. But
Yeah.
I just stopped being able to like if I'm staring at something really close for too long, it's like it starts to
Yeah,
I
I
should probably
mean,
get that looked at, but
my eyes hurt afterwards too,
okay,
but
good. I'm glad to know that I'm not crazy.
it's more like I just can't see past like 10 feet anymore, like read anything for
Yeah.
a few hours and then it comes back. But
Hours. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, it's worth it. It's fun.
That's nice. That's nice. Yeah, I just don't have the patience. That's a good patience practice right there.
Yeah. And yeah. Yeah. What do you do for fun? You
I mean, I'm just I'm
said
just
playing the
getting back
guitar
into
and
it.
yeah.
Gal and I both watch TV together. That's pretty standard. But trying to branch out from that and not just do that all the time. So
Mhm.
watching TV is fun with her, but working out. So I'm trying to do in May. You can ask me about this because I'm doing it. I'm gonna do a Murph a day in May.
Murph
So
a day. Oh my
Murph a
gosh.
day in May, and then so hopefully that goes well. So I've been
So
training for it, getting ready. I
can you tell
did.
everybody what that is
Oh,
for people who
yeah,
don't know? That's insanity.
that's not insanity. So a guy did it for like every day last year. He survived.
I did it once and it
One
was
Murph.
one Murphy, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So this is a workout named after Lieutenant Mike Murphy, who died on Operation Red Wing in Afghanistan, I believe. But he was, if you haven't seen the movie Lone Survivor, he's in it. He dies. Sorry, spoilers. But his workout, or at least what they say his workout was, I don't really know, is a mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, and then another mile run. And you're supposed to wear a 20-pound, I think 25-pound
maybe
weighted vest,
yeah.
during it. Now, I'm not planning on doing the weighted vest.
Okay.
But now that I say that, it's like, why not? If I'm doing it, I should probably do it right. So we'll see. Maybe I'll get a weighted vest too. But
I've got one if you need it.
honestly, I would take you up on that. So I gotta train a little more for that. A couple of years ago, I failed a half marathon.
Ooh.
So grandma's half marathon up in Duluth. I'm gonna try not to rant for an hour on this right now, but
Yeah, it's okay if you do.
yeah, we're getting away from woodworking, but you're gonna learn a little bit more about us here. So I ran the half marathon with a buddy of mine that I'd never run with, and the whole time we talk about people pleasing a lot. He's
Mhm.
letting me set the pace, and I know he's faster than me, so he kind of tailed me just slightly, like he's just right on my hip the whole race, and it's not his fault at all, but I was just pushing and pushing and pushing, and so I'd run 14 miles 2 weeks before it, and then I tapered down. And the 14 I ran in like 2 hours and 5 minutes or so, and then or 2 hours and 8 or something. So it was a little slow for what I wanted. I would have rather gotten under 8 hours, but I had like 5 times the incline. So I was like, okay, that helps.
Sure.
So I'm like, I'll be fine. And I felt fine. Like I was running good the whole time. So we got to like 8-10 miles and I was doing good. And then in Duluth, you get into the city at that point at like 9 or 10 miles. And then you start climbing some hills and I was pushing too fast. I was not pacing correctly because I was my splits were all good. Like they were like broken up evenly, but
Yeah.
overall I hadn't run that fast before. So it's like,
okay.
I wasn't trained for that fast.
Sure.
And anyway, long story long, I got to the last turn and I don't remember making this turn. I had faded to black. So I started cramping like crazy when I was coming down the hill and I was going to make the turn around the center, like the community center or whatever that the race ends at some building. Right. And I thought that the end was right around that corner. So we start cooking down this hill and then we make a turn and it's like, oh, you have another mile. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So that was a problem. I did not run smart. I ran totally different than all my training. All my training, I was listening to a podcast, just running, and I was having okay times, decent recovery,
Okay.
but I ran with him. We were trying to talk a little bit. I was running way faster and I gunned it at the end. And then everything was cramping. I was running with my hip flexors, just pulling my legs up.
Oh,
And
man.
the video looks real bad. Like I'm losing it. And so I say, go ahead to him. I'm like, get out of here. I'm cramping. So, and for anybody wondering, I was drinking at every aid station. I did water, Gatorade. I had goo packs on me and I did those every 2 miles. I hydrated the day before. I ate pasta the night before. Like I was fine. I had to pee during the race. So I peed in my pants and then I also peed in a porta potty because I had to pee really bad. And I looked and it was clear. That's a note for later.
Yeah.
Anyway, why am I telling this story right now?
Because it's great.
Yeah, it's great. It's so fun. So I see my wife and then his girlfriend at the time, and wave at them, but not really. Like I'm just trying to survive. And they have a video of me making the last turn, and by that time I'd blacked out. And all I remember, I just remember people like running by, being like, "You're almost there. This is it." Like as they're running by. And so there's a video of me making that last turn, and I was within probably 200 yards or something. I have no idea. I never saw the end. And then I woke up in an ambulance.
Wow.
So yeah. So they took me to the medical tent. I don't know who took me. Don't know if I fell. Don't know any of that. And then my wife couldn't find me. And then they went to the medical tent. They said I'd been released. So then they went and looked for me. And my buddy waited for me at the finish line. I never came through for like 5-10 minutes. So then he went to look for me. They couldn't find me. They went back to the medical tent. Oh, they're like, oh, he wasn't released. He was brought to the hospital. So I wake up in the ambulance, pass back out, wake up in the hospital, and there's like people all over, and they're like tending to me, and they're like, "Did you fall? What did you hit when you fell?" So they all thought I passed out and fell. So, and I physically cannot move my legs. So I'm like, did I fall and like paralyze myself? Did I mess
Yikes.
myself up real bad? Like, I don't know. Like, I cannot move my legs because I ran for 2 hours and then they took me and laid me down for an hour.
Yeah.
So my legs were just so stiff. They were just lactic acid was just in them.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Jeez.
they finally call my wife and then she races over. She's really worried, obviously. And yeah, so then I had no control of my bowels. My pee was coffee. It was,
Mm.
yeah. So I had rhabdomyolysis.
Oh,
If you know
yeah.
what that is. So it's when
Yep.
you're breaking down too much protein, or your muscles are breaking down too fast that the kidneys can't process it, and then your kidney basically says, "I'm out of here, shut down, try to save the body." So I had that.
Wow.
I had to stay overnight in the hospital. So I was sick. It was just the best.
That's
So
what you do for fun. Got it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was unprepared, and I pushed myself that far. So I have this thing in my head where I can do whatever I really want to, but sometimes it's stupid. Like I need to do it right, not
Different preparation. Yeah.
right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, this is by doing the Murph a day in May, I'm going to practice properly. So I did my sets today. I'm just easing into it. So I did 11 of the sets. So I did 55 pull-ups. Like I'm working up. So I did 11 of the sets of 5, 10, 15 pull-ups, push-ups, air squats.
Sure.
Just easy. That way I can do it again tomorrow. I'm not trying to like get so sore that I can't do it. So I'm trying to practice every day. Then I'll add in a mile, or like I'll probably do a mile on the elliptical before it. I'm just gonna ease into it real slow and then try to execute properly with proper preparation. So
Good for you, man. That's awesome.
anyway, that's a whole story of stuff I'm doing outside of woodworking is that, and that's helping stress and just everything. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Are you doing so I was in CrossFit for a long time.
Yeah.
Are you doing CrossFit pull-ups when you're doing it, or are you doing
No,
real
standard.
pull-ups? All
No
right,
kips.
good.
No
Good.
kips allowed.
No kips. All right, good.
Yeah. Yeah, I do switch between wide and close, and I sometimes switch to a chin up too,
Mm-hmm.
rather than the typical pull up. But
Yeah.
just trying to get.
That's a fun way to push yourself, and it's like, yeah, a whole different kind of discipline. That's like, yeah, it's different than thinking, right, or problem solving. It's just like
Just got to do it.
This is the limit. You just got to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
It's a good
and
practice.
I've done a couple Murphs, and if you don't go for time super hard, like if you just kind of do it, it's not that bad, honestly. For me, I don't like it.
I was gonna say I wholeheartedly disagree, but
Even if you go slow, the second mile really kind of sucks, but it's
I'm a bigger guy, like,
yeah.
so I can't remember a time that I weighed less than like 240 pounds.
Mm.
That's probably a little exaggerated. 220.
So when you were 4, no, okay,
I mean, I was like this size since 8th grade.
newborn,
Like,
pop
it's
out,
crazy. Yeah. But yeah, it's always been hard for me.
Yeah.
And I tried it with a vest once and gave up after the first like 20 pull-ups. Took the vest off. Finished it off. Yeah.
We were stupid in college. We did a duct tape vest.
There you go.
It fell off on the second mile, which was I was very happy that it fell off, but didn't have a vest. So yeah. Doing that, we'll see how it goes. But it's anybody that doesn't work out, it really helps with stress and everything. Like it's just your body's made to do it.
Yep.
So.
That's a 2024 goal of mine is reintroduce some more intense stuff. So I've taken some years off. So I don't know if I told you this, but so I had some heart stuff going on a few years ago. That's why I ended my CrossFit career. But I was doing some of the like really low competitions, nothing very amateur. But
low competition is way more than any of us have ever done.
So it was cool and fun, and is a good way to push yourself. But then we're doing the practicing for the Open, and so that was like you had to do the 5 workouts, and it was cool because you'd sign up for the gym, you'd sign up on the open website, and you'd get ranked nationally, like just to like keep an eye on it and see how you did year over year. And so that was really cool. It was always an exciting time. The whole entire gym community would come to do the workouts at one time. And it was, so we're doing like a toes to bar workout one year, and like right after the set of toes to bar, I passed out. And so like I like had that happen during the movement. I could have like broken my neck, and like I just I freaked out. And then I had similar things happen in the past, and that happened right before COVID happened. And so like I had all this stuff set up to go to Mayo Clinic to get further tests, because everything I did here locally, they couldn't find anything. And so COVID happened, and then all my appointments said, you're not as high a priority anymore. We got to push this out with what's going on. And haven't been back. So I've just been kind of taking it easy. And that's when I started meditation, and when I started some of this other stuff. So I've kind of had to, it's definitely made a difference on my stress not working out. I can tell that. But I have tried to overcompensate in other ways for a little bit. And now I'm trying to reintroduce some
back in,
intense workouts back in.
Can you still do the tests? Are you wanting to?
So I am wanting to. There's some fear around it still, and just like there's not knowing what it could be. But the more I've talked to people and like figured out all the other stuff, like it was also at the time where I was the most burnt out in my job. It was also like, I had ulcers at the time. I had all kinds of stuff going on. From people I've talked to, it was mostly stress related. Like that can happen where your blood pressure just spikes in weird ways. And so, I think
you're also doing a toes to bar workout for a CrossFit open thing. Like that's pretty high stress, intense.
Non-diagnosed, but I think it's just a blood pressure related stress thing.
Yeah. It could have been something you didn't have like nutrient in you, or like food stuff too. Maybe, I don't know, hydration.
Yeah. A lot of things, but it had happened a couple times in like a month and a half span. But it's also, I've also been somebody who like, I don't know how to go at 80%. I only go at 100%. I've definitely matured since then because of that scare.
Yeah.
But so that's a goal for this year. Pickleball last year wasn't cutting it.
No, not enough fun.
Super fun, not enough exercise. What's that?
I played a little bit. It's fine.
It's great.
I'm not that. I mean, yeah.
It's so good.
It's fun. Right to my in-laws, they love it. I think it's fine.
All right, I'll go play with them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good to exercise though. It's good to get back into it and push myself. And you're welcome to join me on the Murphy Day in May. It's gonna be sick.
All right. Don't hold me to it, but for now I'll sign up.
You're gonna do a Murphy Day in May.
Not a Murph a day. I'll do a Murph with you.
Okay.
I'll do a Murph with you.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll try to get a guest for every single one. That'd be kind of hard.
That'd be super fun. That'd be a cool experience.
But then I would have to like post about it, and that's not what I want to turn this in. This is like an escape, right?
Just do it for yourself. Yeah. Just have a picture a day with the person you did it with or something.
Yeah. I don't think I have 30 friends. So
not yet.
So. All these listeners, now you know me.
Yeah.
You know my failures.
I've got a thing for the listeners too here, if you're still with us. One of the things I'm trying to convince Nate of, because he makes a lot of sawdust and a lot more scrap than he can throw out in the time that the dumpster that is big enough for. So I'm trying to engage if there isn't a local, like once a month woodworking, like bonfire party we can throw together. So we need people to know that that's like a thing that people want to do.
And property.
And well, yeah, I mean, we could figure that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a thing that I brought up to him, and he thought that was maybe a cool idea, but just not sure about the logistics. And so I wanted to throw it out here on public plate for them to see, hey, anybody want to help with the logistics, and see if that's a thing that we want to do. And
Yeah.
maybe it turns into like a, like a tool swap and all kinds of
There you
things for
go.
the woodworking community. So I'm just throwing it out there for now. See if it sticks anywhere.
Cool. I'm going to add one little bit to that. I've got a
Yeah.
neighbor at the end of the block. His name's Patrick. And this guy is out with a fire on his driveway every single day.
Yeah.
He keeps a smoldering fire. It's never raging. He's just got logs on in a little fire pit, and he's sitting out there swinging a golf club or smoking a cigarette, and he just burns. So I bring him my scraps in
Nice.
a tote, and I've done it like 6 times now. Sometimes he's not even home. I just drop it off, and then 2 days later, it'll be back on my doorstep empty, and it'll have a note on it like, "I'll take more," with a smiley face. And he'll just burn them all. So I don't have that problem, but I will.
That's great.
Maybe I'll have to cut him off. I'll say, "Sorry, Patrick.
I think Nate's got enough scrap.
Yeah. Okay. There
Just
you
on
go.
his own. Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
Yep.
But you got to have a burn guy,
Right.
if you don't have.
I have like 4 bins in my garage that I intend to burn when we have people over and be like, look at all the species I use.
It smells pretty nice too.
Yeah.
Nicer wood to burn than pine or whatever. So,
Mm-hmm.
do you burn sawdust too?
I have before. I do not recommend it.
No, it doesn't work.
But there are ways to make it work. And yeah, I never made a habit of it, but it, like, every once in a while when there's just like more than I could handle, I'd compress it as much as I could, and use it as the starter for a fire.
Okay. Yeah.
And then like
And then
instead of putting new logs on, I'd let it burn all the way down and put more sawdust in and start it again to get through more of it. Sorry to jump over you there.
No, yeah, I'm interested in how you burn it because I've never been able to. I only tried once or twice, but I just bag them. And then my mom lives in a city nearby, and my grandparents live 2 houses from her. So I'll swing there, and they never have trash full. So I can get rid of 2 bags every week just through their trash, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So I have some dust methods of, I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
You got the hookups.
I got the hookups. Yep.
Saying.
So my brain's failing. The coffee is gone.
Yeah. I think it's about time to wrap it up.
It is a little different episode, but I enjoyed it. I feel like
too.
people get to know us more when we just have a good time. So I hope you have a good week and nothing too crazy happens. And I'll catch you next time.
Sounds good, man. Take it easy.
Later.
Thanks for tuning in this week. We'd be having these conversations with or without you because we get a lot of value out of this and we learn and grow together, but we're glad that you're here as well.
Yes, please let us know what you think of the podcast by leaving a review or a rating, but also comment or share with your friends in the woodworking or small business community. I'm Matt from Whiskey Woodshop.
And I'm Brian of Boss Man's Boutique.
Thanks for
listening.